Why hello there! Welcome back to the Scrap Mechanic building world. Today I'm going to be starting a new series on this channel, and what this is basically going to be about is me building your train suggestions. Because while I do have some mid-British locomotives that haven't been built yet, I'm gonna run out at some point. So if you guys could keep coming with some ideas, I will have a lot more fun. So today we'll be building the suggestion of one of the first comments ever made on the channel, which is to make a 422 single. Now that is a good idea because, let's face it, those singles are pretty dope. So let's just get straight into it. I will start off by building a wall of blocks like I usually do, just to have something to work with at the beginning. And for this locomotive, I'm going to be using the wheels that have a diameter of 9 blocks. I rarely use this wheel type at all, basically because it doesn't really fit with a lot of the other locomotives that I built, but for today's sake I thought it would be okay. So we'll put it right here, of course at a bearing so it can actually rotate, and with how it's looking right now I'm gonna duplicate it for the other side, just like this. Now the reason I'm doing this is because at this point I already want to attach the front bogie. So we'll get out the bogie. This is a pre-saved bogie I made a long time ago, but it looks nice and I've been using it for like ever since I built it. At this point I should probably explain that I'm taking inspiration from the northeastern singles. So this locomotive is gonna have inside cylinders in motion, and that's definitely not me just being lazy. Well, partly, but it's mostly because I don't think I can make the motion work on the outside, at least not that so it like looks good. Anyway, we have the bogie and the main frame, and it is aligned right now, so we are going to attach it via just a bar across here. Now this bogie thankfully has some bearings saved onto it, so I can just use the weld tool, and boom! There we go! Now the bogie is attached. So this is what it looks like so far. I think we'll just finish up the chassis now. Basically what I'm gonna do is the trailing wheel and the driving wheels are going to be connected like it was just one bogie. This is purely because it makes it more stable and thereby is harder to derail. So let's finish up the chassis here. Right, we've got the back chassis assembled. Now let's just finish up the rest of the frame up here. Right, this is looking pretty good. So what I want to do now is I actually want to build the cab. So we want to make sure it's the right height so you can actually like see over the wheels. Right, so that's the main shape of the cap done. We'll wait with the interior until we have the boiler attached. So, let's do that. Now, I haven't actually tested like attaching a boiler with this wheel size in a very long time, so I'm interested in seeing how this is gonna go, but I guess we'll just start. Now, based on personal experience, building boilers in Scrap Mechanic is quite annoying, especially the way how I do it. I don't know if you've noticed, but the way I build boilers in Scrap Mechanic is via slopes. So slopes attached together to create a sort of round shape, which to me just looks better. That does unfortunately mean that I have to place all those slopes, or at least I did. Basically, what I have done is I've just saved some sections of boiler, so I don't have to build them. And trust me, this is a major time saver. But of course, before we add the boiler, we need the firebox. And as you can see, I also have a firebox saved, a Belpaire firebox, which is my personal favorite. So we'll build that, remove this at the... Actually, I think I'm gonna compare it to another locomotive. Now, as you can see, I haven't moved the Atlantic since last video, so I think that would be a pretty good, like, height comparison. We'll spawn the firebox in again, and we'll now start the estimation. But I think we'll be fine off by just doing the same height as the Atlantic. So right here. That does look a bit goofy, but we're gonna roll with it. So now that we have the firebox attached, we of course are gonna add the boiler. I have sections of a different length to kind of make it a little bit easier. See, this is already like just most of it. Nice one, we only really need 2 more. There we go. Now we'll plop those on. Still a little bit goofy, but it's fine, it's Scrap Mechanic. Now I think I'm actually gonna add the running board. We're gonna have to get a little bit creative with how we do the splashers, but we'll get to that. Now, I do find it kind of annoying that this isn't completed, so we'll just finish that up. Much better. I think now I'll just complete like most of the locomotive except the splashers, so we can look at that at the very end when I have more of the whole locomotive as reference. So let's do it. Right, with most of the actual appearance of the locomotive done, I think it's time we complete the cab. Now, like with a lot of other parts of the steam locomotive, I have saved a set of the usual cab interior that I use. Now, before we attach anything, we're gonna make the firebox door, like that. And we're gonna add a little table above it, just some pipe work and such, the water gauge, and the reverser. Now what I'm gonna do with some of this is connect it up to a controller block, because some of the details have bearings in them, so if I don't do this they'll waddle around and potentially cause lag. Anyway, I think it actually would be a good time to try and tackle the wheel splasher. Well, let's get to it, I guess. One thing I just realized, I do have ones that are for 9-wheel drivers. Now this might actually work. It's too short. But I think we can work with it. This shouldn't actually be that hard now. How did that happen? This is gonna look rather odd, but it's fine. It's actually not that bad. That was quite easy. We'll do the other side. Right, with the splashers complete, the appearance of the locomotive is more or less done. And honestly, it doesn't actually look that bad. I am gonna stop the video for today. In the next video, I will be showing you guys how I rig the locomotive and make them ready to perform. I'll also be fine-tuning to give it the right performance that I find fitting for this locomotive. And I'll potentially even work out a backstory to it. If it was real, of course. So yeah. Thanks for watching and do subscribe.